You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast. I am Jim Coppinger, the ever-talkative host, and with me is my co-host and friend...
What's my name?
And is a dead goldfish. Did you never learn that in school? Obviously, you didn't go to Catholic school, Rocco. You get smacked on the knuckles and told that an is a dead goldfish.
All right, this is Rocco Parisi.
Who is not Oh, goodness. How are we doing today?
We're doing. Yourself?
Hey, I'm alive on the right side of the grass. We'll take that as a win. So
yes.
some days and some weeks, that's all you can ask for. So I'll go with that. So what are we talking about today? Oh, okay, I know what we're doing today. So today we're going to get a little bit software specific. We're going to talk about a specific feature of Bluebeam Revu and how it benefits the construction world. All right, and I do realize that we normally try to be software neutral on this show, but the truth is I just honestly don't know of any other software other than Bluebeam Revu that offers the specific functionality that we're going to be talking about today. So the question, of course, is then what are we talking about, Jim? Well, we're going to discuss the concept of tool sets, all right, and how you can create reusable company and task specific intelligent tools that can be used on every one of your projects. In other words, you can use the most installed software in the construction world, which is what Bluebeam really is, and make tools that automate your daily work, and then you can share those tools with everybody in your company so that you're getting the same output in the same format, looking exactly the same on every single job. And that's a big benefit. So just want to talk about that today. So Rocco, I know that, like I said, right, Revu is the most installed software in the construction world. Right? But how many people out there in terms of like percentages are active Bluebeam users today? And what do you think makes it such a popular program in the construction world?
Yeah, last I saw, it was somewhere like 60% of construction folks are using Bluebeam, and it's small. Everybody from your very small general contractor all the way up to your big construction firms are using it. And what makes it attractive is the fact that it's a low cost, powerful tool that's heavily used. So I think those three factors alone, create the formula.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when everybody else is using it, when every architect, every engineer, every other trade contractor, right, everybody on the planet uses it, it only makes sense, right? And like you said, it is a pretty low-cost product for an immense amount of capability. So when we're talking about Revu, in terms of the tool sets, right, there are two distinct purposes, I think, that people use Revu for within the construction environment. The first one is what we call markups, okay? And this is where you can take your construction documents that are in a basic PDF format, right, that you can get from any architect or engineer, and you just start drawing or placing your information right on top of the PDF. Right? This markup process it's really widely used for as-builts, for field notes, for on-site inspections and photos and punch lists, right? and just dozens of other functions in the construction environment, right? And this is where our topic for today enters this conversation, right? The biggest issue I think that people run into when they're doing these markups in the construction world is that everybody who is marking things up does it differently, right? Let's just take like a punch list as an example, right? So you got one project manager might type out all of his notes as giant green text, right? While you got another one who's manually sketching in symbols that only she understands, right? And then you got a third one who's typing in these 2-letter keys that correspond to an Excel workbook that he developed in 1994, and it's sitting on his desktop. Right? It really causes all kinds of trouble, right? And the idea behind Revu tool sets, it's to address just that scenario, right? The idea is that you can pre-build sets of tools, right? Punch key symbols in my example here, that you can organize any way that you like, and then you can share those with everybody in your company, right? So, this way it's very consistent. It's just, pick the tool, place it on the screen, and then all the data that you need and want displayed is shown exactly the way that you want it shown in the way that you need it, right? You can set the look, the color, the text values, tie in even full-scale notes and layering preferences, whatever you want for each tool that you build, right? And that can save countless hours of work, right, on every job. And more importantly, it can save you thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in potential miscommunication while you're trying to figure out, what each and every person marking up that project meant. Okay, so and Rocco, we do a lot of tool set work, right, for our construction clients here at Zentech. What's their response to the markup features specifically that are built into the tool sets? Where do they see the big benefits for the markup tools?
Well, it's exactly what you said. The ability to create consistency. So that not everybody's doing different, working in different manners. And I think overall that brings productivity gains. It's less time figuring out what the heck this one's trying to do or what the heck this one's trying to say. So I think you pretty much answered in your description of what they are.
Cool. So you mean I was right?
Oh, jeez, not again.
Yeah, again. See, the thing that you have to is if you have to keep saying Jim's right again, then I'm right all the time. I'm just saying.
I didn't.
That's what I heard. That is it. I heard. I heard the word again. That's all I heard. That's all that matters. All right. So look. So the second area, right? I said there were two areas, right? That Revu tool sets address. The second area is quantity takeoff and estimating. And to my mind, my personal setup here, this is where the truly powerful side of the tool set concept comes into play. Right? We can build predefined takeoff items, not just markups like sketches, but actual intelligent takeoff items that will measure length and area and volumes and do item counts, right, directly from your tool sets, right? So, say you need to measure, different lengths of 8-inch versus 12-inch ductwork. No problem, right? You build a set of tools for ductwork with an 8-inch and a 12-inch size tool already built. All your users do is they just click on the proper one, whether it's the 8 or the 12, and they just draw right on top of the engineering plan. Right? And those tools, right? And here's where it really starts to get like crazy powerful. Those tools can be preset with every conceivable display property, so they all look the way you want, just like the markups, right? Got all the text values and everything that you want, but more importantly, right, they can be defined with preset properties. And what that means is that you can have the system automatically calculate whatever you need, whether it's the weight of your duct, the cost per linear foot, the make, the model, the manufacturer, when it was delivered, when it was shipped, whatever you can conceive of, all of those pieces of data can be predefined and added to these tools so that whatever you need to track is automatically put into the takeoff just by drawing, right? So, Revu allows you to build these custom properties, and you can use drop-down lists so that people get choice boxes. You can put in text boxes so they can type in values or numbers or costs or prices. You can even build formulas, right, to handle all the data and pricing info that you need and have it automatically calculate and update those values in real time as your measurements or your takeoffs are changing, right?
This is not programming. This is custom. This is really configuring the software.
Yeah, that's
right?
all it is. It's absolutely all it is. It is strictly configuration. There's no coding required for this, right? And it's amazing, right? So think about that, right? It means that you can sketch in your length of duct in my example, And instantly the system tells you what the cost is. How many braces are you going to need? How many supports? It lets you do a drop down to choose whether it's insulated or if it's not insulated, and then it adds in the additional cost of the insulation. Right? That is immense power. Right? And all that the end user has to do is just pick the tool and sketch it out. It's that easy. So, Rocco, in terms of the work that we do, setting up the Revu tool sets, how do people respond to the quantity takeoff and estimating tools? Right? Are they excited by the concept, or are they afraid of it? Right? And how does it stack up against the markup tools that we do? In terms of usage and who's looking for what?
Well, I think that they're excited about it because they see the potential for productivity gains. I mean, the amount of time that goes into just doing this all independently versus now being able to add the power of these tools is huge for people. And again, it helps to bring consistency, which is important.
Yep. So, but do you find that more people are looking for the takeoff tools? Do you think more people are interested in just the base markup tools, or do you think it's an even mix of both?
I think there's a little bit more of a heavy interest on the takeoff side.
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree.
But it all depends on what you're doing,
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, we do it for both sides, but I definitely I think that people see much more in terms of the cost benefit, because there's so much time eliminated with the quantity takeoff. Things that could take 4 or 5 hours can be done in like 30, 40 seconds, and I think they see that right away. So I think that's been my feel anyway in working with our clients. So, all right, so you know what? Let's take a quick break here to hear from today's sponsor. And when we come back, we'll get into the process of setting up these tool sets in a little bit more detail. All right, so we'll be back in just a few minutes, folks, with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody, today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from y'all. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, so I want to get into, in this half, the actual process of developing tool sets in Bluebeam, right, and what it really entails. And Racker, you actually brought this in, you brought it up earlier, right? I know that when people first hear a discussion like this, their first instinct is always, I'm not a software coder, I can't do that, this is too complex. And the truth here is that there's absolutely no coding of any type required for this. Okay, the process of developing tool sets can really be handled by anybody who is reasonably comfortable working in Bluebeam Revu. It's nothing more than building the symbols, right, and the tools that you need. Right, which those can be completely done using basic markup tools like circles and squares and some basic text. You're just creating symbols. After you've created the symbol, you just group it together as a single object, right? And then you build a tool set and add the tool to it. That's it. Okay. Now, next from there we can start to build, custom columns to handle all the more advanced tools like, pricing and estimating. It's all built in. There's no coding required. It's just, point and click and select what you want and type in your formulas. Okay. And that's where we go in and we set all the appropriate default values for each tool. Right. And then from there, all you're going to do is just save it out to your network or the cloud, whichever you're working on, and just have everybody point to that location. And you have instant company-wide tools available to make your jobs go faster. It's really that easy. It doesn't really even require, from a technical standpoint, any kind of detailed coding understanding or a high-end consultant like Zentech. It's something you can absolutely do on your own. Okay, so I'll pitch this at you then, Rocco, right? Give you chances. So, right, we do a lot of this tool set development work for our clients here at Zentech, particularly in the construction field. And if it's like I'm saying, if it's such an easy task to put these tools together, why do you always make me work late hours to get all of these projects done? Why do we have so much work?
Because I'm mean like that.
You are. See? Now I've got that. I'm always like right, and Rocco's mean and makes me work too hard.
I like to see you suffer.
Listen, I'm married. There's nothing you can do to me. Been married 30 years. I am the king of suffer.
No, it's a time that goes into it. You know, it's I mean the upfront time in putting it all together, but you know, on the back end, it's hugely how do I say this? I mean, on the back end, it pays off in spades, if that's the right way to say it. You know, so and again, it's the automation behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and no, I think you're absolutely right. It really does come down to available time. Right? You know, there's nothing overly complex in building tool sets, but you do need to either already know or take the time to learn, right? So that you know exactly what you're doing to fully understand all the options, all right? And even if you know Revu really, really well and you're comfortable enough and you know the basics, you're like, yeah, I could probably handle this. You absolutely can. What it really comes down to, I think, for most of our clients, it really comes down to the hours that they need to invest to develop this, right? While almost everybody that I talk to, right, they see the immediate cost benefit of the Revu tool sets. They just can't spare the time that they need to build them in-house. Right? And I think that's particularly true for our construction clients. It has been my experience, at least, and Rocco, tell me if you disagree, but I see that the design houses are more able to free up and spare people to handle the back end setup, and construction folks are just too busy. You know, everybody that I speak to, they're working 12-hour days, just staying on top of their regular workload. Right? They can't take on a project like this. Right? And I know I've said this before in past podcasts. Right? It's my favorite phrase. You know, simple doesn't mean easy. They're not the same thing. Right? It's a simple process, right? And it's work that you can certainly do on your own, right? But there is still work there, right? Work and time, and very often people just find it easier, right? To work with a consultant like Zentech and keep their own staff billable, working on the actual construction jobs that you're trying to use these tools for, right? So Rocco, when we get involved in these, right, where do we usually start on a consultation project like that? I mean, it's pretty common to talk to people who want, quote unquote, tools. I need tools for my construction work. But how do we help them refine what tools they actually need and what is the most cost-effective way to get there?
Yeah, well, we need to sit down, all right? We need to open up the hood a little bit and have you show us how you guys work. We usually give a foundation for a spreadsheet per se, where you give us an idea of the kinds of columns and properties, how you want everything structured, and from there we can go and build the tools for you. But mm-hmm. it really involves sitting down with you first and getting an idea for what is it that you need, what's slowing you down, what are you looking to automate. How many tools are you looking to build?
Right. And that's really the case. Like you said, we tend to use, I have a spreadsheet that I put together over the years that I give to people, and it just lets them fill out the tools and things that they need. But it almost always starts with just a conversation, right? If anybody tells you they know what you need and they've got the right answer for you, not usually the case. Whenever you get in any kind of a customization discussion, right, or a configuration discussion, you really want someone who's going to discuss what you're talking about, right? We need to understand what you need to do and where your pain points are before we can even consider what are the best tools or the best way to start making those go away. So good points. One of the questions I think that comes up whenever I'm working with clients on these toolset projects, one of the things I always get asked is, how do I handle upgrades? Right? Most of our clients, they don't mind paying us for a one-time, development project, but they don't want to pay us that fee every single year as new releases and updates and so on come out. Right? Which, while I love the money, I absolutely understand that you just don't want to be locked into that. I get it. The good thing here, I think, is that, the way Bluebeam has structured their tool sets, right, is that they are pretty much version neutral. Right? And what I mean by that is that, once the tools have been built, once they're done, right, they are really accessible and usable in every new version that you install. What you need to do there, you just need to load the profile containing the tool set, just load it into the new version, right? And you're all set. That's really all you need to do. You just have to copy the files from the old location to the new location, or if you have it centralized on a network, you don't even have to do that. You just go into the new release 20, which just came out, and just say, hey, load the profile that Zentek did for me 3 years ago, and you're good to go. Okay. There are some limitations depending on how you're working and so on, but generally you can essentially just copy it forward, and it works in every version. And look, I can't guarantee our listeners here that will always be the case. I mean, I don't own Bluebeam, all right, but that has been the case historically speaking. So essentially, any tools that you've created or made over the last decade, they work just fine in all the newest versions, right? Now, there are always new features and functions that get added with each release of the program, right? And you may want to go back and you may want to incorporate those new features into your tools, right? Which is, to be expected, right? You're always going to update as you find newer, better ways of working with the program. But you should never really have to start from scratch ever again, okay? You can just go back, pick a few tools that you need to upgrade, or say, hey, that tool would work really, really well. This new feature they added this year, that'll work out really well in terms of our, punch list process. Okay, I want to add that in and get some extra features here. And you can do that, just modify the tools you need to, and then, or like I said, if you don't have the time, you can always, call Zentek back, and we'll be happy to handle the new feature integration for you, right? It's what we do. So, Rocco, right? What do we do a lot of this custom work, right, for clients, building custom review tool sets, right? But we also develop and sell our own pre-packaged Bluebeam Revu tools, right? Both markup sets and takeoff and quantity estimating sets, right? What are our best-selling sets of tools, and what's coming up in the near future that our listeners should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, we well, in terms of the markup tools, we offer a set for interior, exterior, structural, and site work, and we definitely see a lot of interest on the structural side, and that's part of the reason why we also have a full takeoff and estimating tool called our Zen Estimate Steel tools, which do real well for us, and so we're just in process of releasing the V20 version of those tools, mm-hmm. and we're also working on a tool set for HVAC work that'll be out here hopefully within another month or two.
Right. Yep. And just to throw it out there that we actually we have both imperial and metric sets for that Zen Estimate Steel. So it doesn't matter where you're working, U.S. or Canada, or if you're doing out of the country work, you need a metric, we can help you there. And again, those are focused on quantity, takeoff, weights, and all that good stuff. So, all right. So I think that kind of, I think at that point, I'll actually, Rocco, I'm going to give you the last word for once. How do you like that? I'm actually going to let you close out the topic for today. All right? Word. He's giving you word. There's his last word. His last word is word. Don't you know that the bird is the word? Come on, Rocco. Oh, no, sorry. No singing. Bad Jim. All right, I'm going to get out of here, folks. All right, everybody, have a great day. We will catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast.